Hi, Leo, Sun and Rising. Welcome to your August 2024 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So, August begins eclipse season, you could say, because it is the month before the official first eclipse in Pisces. And so, it is possible that some event that is connected to that will be starting to have some influence over your life. I'm not going to talk about that eclipse or the one in October because it's a bit premature for that. I'm just going to talk about actual transits, but keep in mind that you may start to feel things shifting, and that can have a very profound effect because that eclipse is going to be taking place in your 8th house. Of course, as always, this is a general reading, and it really does depend on your individual chart to see where these transits are falling. Sometimes you will have where they will align with certain things in your personal chart, and sometimes they will not. They'll be like a house off. Okay. So obviously, August dominates in terms of the sun's influence, which is your ruler in your sign. Isn't that great, Leo? So you have the sun in the first house. Mars is remaining in Gemini, which is a friendly angle to you. And this is your 11th house, which is a very social area for Leo people. This is a great time for networking. You may feel a sense of urgency in coming together with others. This is the house of your opposite sign of Aquarius, which will feature in this what I think is going to be a very powerful full moon for the collective on the 19th. And as an individual, that could affect your relationships in some way. On the 4th of the month, Venus goes into Virgo, and we have a new moon at 12 degrees of Leo. And this is kind of the theme. And of course, this is how it typically is for the month of August, where you have the current energies of Leo coupling with some emerging Virgo energies before the actual sun enters the sign of Virgo. It all depends on what planets are ahead of the sun and whatnot, because actually Mercury is already in Virgo as the month begins. And Virgo for you, Leo, is your second house of earned income, which means that this can really be a time every year where money is front and center in your life. Maybe it's easier to manifest things at this time in some cases, and yet this year, because we have a Mercury retrograde in this second house, things could get disrupted a little bit in one way or the other. For instance, you may have some kind of an idea of how to make money, a money-making idea that doesn't go the way you planned, or you're rethinking it with the Mercury retrograde. Mercury can be paperwork, and anything that's financially related to that could be could be compromised. But remember that Mercury is super fast moving, so even during the retrograde and subsequent, station direct, it's just a matter of time before everything gets sorted out. So you don't have to really worry about it affecting you long term, but just keep in mind, for instance, this is just one little example. Let's say you're someone who wants to do direct deposits at work and you give them your routing number of your bank and your bank account number, and somehow it gets mucked up. Or even getting, and this is actually what happened to my partner, that he got a new debit card after the first one never arrived too. And this is not during a Mercury retrograde, by the way. And they spelled his first name wrong, so he had to go back and get another card. And this just happened the other day. So these kinds of things do happen, and they might happen more frequently during a Mercury retrograde, where some part of the chain of command that has to do with your finances gets some sort of snafu. So just keep that in mind, and if you do have something like that, then you can say, oh yeah, it's the Mercury retrograde, this too shall pass. That's one of the best things about predictive astrology, is that you can see the temporary nature of some problems. So let me back up a little bit, because the Mercury retrograde is happening on the 5th of the month. On the 4th of the month, Venus goes into that sector, the second house, and Venus rules the second house. So she specializes in money matters. She also specializes in love matters, hence being the ruler of the 7th house of committed partnership. So I don't want to give her just one role. But so that could definitely be a time when money is easier to attract, or, I'm not saying you're not working for it though, but just keep that in mind about Mercury. Actually, Mercury retrograde can be, if you had some idea in the past about making money, you might fall back on that for at least a short while, a few weeks. And it's like it could be reworked to make money. Actually, Venus going into the second house in some cases can bring a raise. And on that same day, a new moon in your sign at 12 degrees of Leo. And so setting intentions for what you want to manifest in the coming 12 months is something that you may find enjoyable, but also kind of like inspiring. How you choose to share your gifts with the world, your many gifts with the world. On the 14th, Mercury, which is retrograding at this point, goes back into your sign. So it may, and remember too that you're going to have a Mars retrograde. It'll be at an earlier degree than this particular situation. So I don't think it's necessarily tied to it directly, but I do think that the themes of Leo and how you present yourself, how you act when you're around other people, may come into some sort of understanding on your part, and that you may be in the process of changing it, because having Mars in the 11th house can also mean that you're not seeing eye to eye with people that you normally socialize with. And there could be a very good reason. You might be somebody on a mission in terms of your own life. Maybe you want to change certain things, and in doing so, you're meeting with opposition from others. If you are engaged in positive types of behaviors with your changes, understand that people who object to that might simply be threatened by your positivity. And that gives you information of whether or not that person is a good influence on your life. And this is something you're going to have to kind of like really ponder about, because you're having this new moon, and it's not like, oh wow, it's so rare for Leo to have a new moon in their sign. It's not rare, but it's not every day. You only get one new moon in your sign. So just keep that in mind. And with these retrogrades, not just Mercury, but like I said, Mars at the end of the year, going into 2025, Leo people might be working on themselves, or at least reflecting on certain aspects of themselves. These are personal planets, and it's about how you carry yourself when it's in the first house. And I think with the second house retrograde, when it comes to money, you have Venus in the second house. Leo people tend to live large. They tend to be big spenders. And yet a Leo person may find that they need to tighten their belts for some reason. And it might not be that, oh, they're not going to have any money. Maybe they want to buy a house and they are saving for a down payment, and they want to save as much money as they possibly can to be able to buy a house as quickly as they can. So, looking at, do I really need new clothes every 6 months or a year? New jewelry? Is it really important? Or am I just, being self-indulgent? Am I just like allowing myself to put too much emphasis on my image rather than my essence? On the 19th, that full moon at 19 degrees of Aquarius, the 7th house, at the time of a full moon, the sun is in the opposite sign of that. So, of course, you're the opposite sign. So it is an opposition between the 1st and the 7th houses, with the full moon being in that 7th house of relationships. And this can really bring things to a head in terms of you and another person. It doesn't have to be a marriage partner or the equivalent. It could be some other type of relationship, but nonetheless, it could feel like, wow, something has to give. We can't go on like this. In some cases, this can be finally saying, oh, okay, this is the one for me. I'm going to marry this person, or I'm going to move in with this person. For some people, this may be a situation of finding out something about that person that you didn't know. And with the sun, your ruler in the 1st house, having the dignity to be able to process that information in a way that honors yourself. On the 22nd, we have the sun going into Virgo, into that 2nd house. So more focus on finances. On the 28th, Mercury goes direct at 21 degrees of Leo in your 1st house. So you see that I like it when a Mercury retrograde occurs within 1 month, so that I know when that is going to end in that month too. But of course, there's a shadow period afterwards that can certainly create more snafus for a little while until Mercury comes back up to speed. But it's nice. So it's coming, it's stationing direct in your 1st house, and you may solidify something about how you choose to promote yourself. Again, with Mars in the 11th house, or maybe something where you're enlisting people that you know to promote yourself. Maybe you didn't realize that you had this potential sea of clients that you had not tapped into if you have your own business or whatnot. You were just looking for, strangers, and you find people that you already know that you can get the word out to. And now maybe you're doing so in a more effective way. The very next day on the 29th, Venus goes into Libra, another friendly angle, another sextile, this time in the opposite direction. So this is your third house, which is a house that Mercury rules. And I'm sorry, I said Mercury. It's the house that, the house that Mercury rules, but we're talking about Venus here. And so in the third house, Venus, because Venus can be about money, you can gain through anything to do with teaching, anything to do with learning. If you learn something, it may be for financial benefit, but I think especially teaching. And this is the end of August, so this is the time when teachers are going to their classrooms, or going into September at least, and also gaining through writing or social media. If anybody could take advantage of social media in a big way, it would be a Leo person. And also Venus can be love, so an online dating service, anybody? I mean, that's a possibility. So, that's what I have for you, Leo. I hope that you resonate with this, even though this is something in advance. You may be anticipating some of these things happening. If you would like to look at your next 12 months and the themes that are coming up for you astrologically, I have a deep dive package reading, which is an hour of analyzing your natal chart, plus an hour of transits for the next 12 months for a special price, and I have those readings separately. I have career life path readings, love readings. You can find out more information at the link below. Thanks for listening. Bye.